Thank you, Dean. And thank you all for coming this evening to support our foundation and listen to the inspiring story of our speaker, His Excellency Ahmed Obaid Al-Mansouri. Bonjour et merci à tout le monde ici ce soir. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of the Consul General of Israel, Paul Hirschhorn, the Consul General of Germany, Zuzanne Ash-Iglesias, and the Consul General of Poland, Dariusz Wisniewski. Baruch haba v'toda lacha Shabbata, willkommen und danke für Ihr Kommen. Witamy, dziękuję bardzo za bycie nami. The theme of this evening is bridging communities, not merely living alongside, but achieving a true understanding and appreciation of other cultures and religions. His Excellency is accomplishing this daunting task by breaking down the walls of ignorance and discrimination in the Middle East as well as internationally. His award-winning museum, The Crossroads of Civilization in Dubai, exposes many facets of history from previous eras of enlightenment, as well as from the era of supreme darkness, the Holocaust. The Foundation for Genocide Education shares a similar vision to bridge communities through educating our youth about the history of genocide. It has been quite the journey since 2014. I can tell you that it was not an easy task convincing the Quebec government that something had to be done to make sure that every high school student graduating learns the lessons of the Holocaust and other genocides. We are a small organization, and to use a biblical metaphor, a David up against a Goliath. But we took on the challenge with the support of the Armenian National Committee of Quebec. We presented a petition of several thousand signatures to the National Assembly and to the Parliament in Ottawa, which received standing ovations. We spoke to ministers of all parties, and we also met with education ministers. Time and time again, we were told by politicians, journalists, and leaders of organizations that nothing could be done. But, as many of you are aware, when it comes to genocide education, you don't say no to a child of Holocaust survivors. En 2017, le ministère de l'Éducation a proposé la création d'un guide pour des enseignants rédigé par les professeurs Sylvain Hirsch et Sabrina Moisson de l'Université de Québec à Trois-Rivières et l'Université de Sherbrooke avec l'aide du Musée de l'Holocauste Montréal. It took a few years longer to complete than expected, but we did it. I am proud to share that the guide is now available in both English and French to high school teachers in Quebec and soon across Canada. Also being offered are instructional videos, testimonials, and teacher training workshops on how to use the guide. 2 weeks ago, we had a very successful meeting with the Ministry of Education to discuss further developments. Our next goal: first, to create an addendum to the guide about anti-Semitism, which is so vitally important. We then aim to have the study of genocide made a compulsory component in high school history courses across Canada using the guide as a principal resource. Our foundation also runs presentations in high schools in English and French, where survivors of genocide, as well as children and even grandchildren of survivors, share their stories and that of their families. We have reached over 15,000 students through our presentations. We also respond immediately when there's an anti-Semitic incident reported in a school, as what happened in Rawdon this week. by offering a presentation and an encouragement to use the guide. In September, our newest presenter, whose great-grandfather survived the Canadian residential school system, will be going to schools to share her family story to speak about the genocide of Canada's Indigenous peoples. Many of these presenters are here tonight, and I would like to thank them for the positive impact they are having on the next generation. Barbara Seepley, the Holocaust, Marie Kidigwian, Armenia, Bhavin Karenga, Rwanda, Melissa Montour, First Nations, Lucy Shapiro, the Holocaust, Jody Norton, First Nations, Naomi Tenser, the Holocaust, and Marilee Weitzman, the Holocaust. Would you please stand up? Would you please stand up to be recognized? Come on, everyone. Thank you. There are so many people to thank for helping us achieve our goals for this evening, which will support our educational programs. Our deep appreciation goes to our many sponsors and our donors and ticket holders. A special thanks to Vice President Mark Ellman, our board of directors, and most importantly, our amazing fundraising committee. We could not have done this without you. Our executive staff is incredible, especially our Director of Communications, Marcy Bruck, who's been with me from the very beginning. Our administrative coordinator, Anna Mazur from Poland. Our project assistant, Sarah Sizaber, who's from Dubai, staff writer, Aaron Braun, and school presentation outreach coordinator, Janie Halleckman. As in all our work, this was truly a team effort. We'd also like to recognize the many political representatives who have helped and continue to help us collaborate with the provincial and federal governments. Former M&A David Birnbaum, current M&As Elizabeth Prass, Sona Lakoyan, Olivier, Valerie Schmaltz, and Celine Hatayan, and of course, federal MP Anthony Housefather. A special mention must be made of the support from Honorable Erwin Kotler, who's a distinguished member of our board. Je tiens aussi à mentionner les personnes qui ont participé à la création de guides sur l'enseignement des génocides, en particulier M. Georges Lemieux du ministère de l'Éducation. Une grande félicitation aux professeurs Sivan Hirsch et Sabrina Moisson pour leur vision et leur dévouement à la création de ce guide. Et un grand merci aussi à M. Daniel Lamar et Mme Anne Marguette et leur équipe au Musée de l'Holocauste Montréal pour votre soutien et votre expertise pédagogique. Merci beaucoup. I'd also like to recognize and thank the many community organizations and especially the teachers who've worked with us over the years. And finally, I'd like to thank our moderator for this evening, Kyle Matthews, who was with me at our very first meeting with an education minister, director of the Montreal Institute for Genocide and Human Rights Studies at Concordia University, who will be interviewing His Excellency Al-Mansouri. Distinguished guests, if we truly care about the sanctity of human life and the dignity of mankind, it is our responsibility to stand up to oppression, to educate against it, and to bring perpetrators to justice. If we do not care enough to act, then we are bound to repeat the mistakes of the past. And we must also recognize the many courageous individuals who have risked their lives to protect and save those targeted by genocidal regimes. Our foundation will continue its work to bridge communities through genocide education. It is through sharing the stories of those who perished and those who survive the greatest crime against humanity, that we will empower future generations to speak up against discrimination and prejudice, creating a better, more inclusive world. Our youth must learn to remember, reflect, and respond, the 3 words that define our foundation. As I always say at the end of my presentation to high school students, the fight against racism and intolerance must begin in the classroom. Thank you. Merci.